In late May 2011, 40-year-old Pedro Zambrano was carrying out welding works on a sullage tank on the North Mole when it exploded. He suffered severe burns and died 2 months later. Mr Zambrano and his colleague Paco Garcia had been subcontracted by Nature, and today, for the first time, the family has spoken about the out-of-court compensation settlement reached with the company.
Although no amount of money will replace a father and a husband, at least it's the end of the road for them, and they can now look forward to hopefully better standard of living. Already the daughter, Paloma, she's taking a course on nursing, and she cannot afford to pay for it. At least materially, they are protected.
You said that it's a tragic occasion. What lessons do you think have been learned?
Well, I think that the whole of Gibraltar will remember that day. It's probably our modern Bedouin, in the sense that there was an explosion. The whole of Gibraltar was following what was happening on television and just by looking outside of their windows. And we need to ensure that that sort of thing never happens again. And the question is, was there a safe system of work employed on that day in the way that that tank was being worked on? The finding of the court has been that it was not. And therefore, of course, what we need to do is ensure that people always act in keeping with safe systems of work. That's why we have a legal system to ensure that when that doesn't happen, there is redress, and that redress is what pushes people to always ensure that they act properly. I'm sure that the sort of incident that we saw at Nature, we will not see again.
Can you tell us anything about the broader compensation package?
Well, after a good deal of negotiation, we have reached a settlement in addition to the 120,000, but that is confidential by agreement between the parties. But it's a sum which will be helpful to the families.
In December, Nature was convicted of 5 counts of breaches in health and safety legislation. They were fined £120,000. The fine was payable to the government, but today the Chief Minister handed over that money to Mr Zambrano's family and to his colleague.
Well, the government is not paying anything to the families from the taxpayers' account. The government has no liability here. What has happened is that the government has taken, the prosecuting authorities, not the political government, have taken the company involved to court because of deficiencies in the way that the events leading up to the explosion were managed. And the Magistrates' Court has decided that a fine is payable because there were those deficiencies. There was a finding against the company, and that fine, the law specifically provides, the fine payable in these instances under the Factories Act can be used to pay to the family of any deceased or injured person.
Those receiving checks today said they were grateful to the government for having moved quickly following the court's decision in December.
Ante todo, siempre vamos a estar recordando a mi padre cada minuto, la pena la vamos a seguir teniendo, pero ya hemos cerrado, entre comillas, este caso y tenemos la tranquilidad de no tener que seguir viniendo, recordando el momento.
Paloma Zambrana Ramirez telling GBC she'll always remember her father and mourn his loss, but that with legal proceedings now finalised, the family can have some closure and peace of mind, continuing their lives as normally as possible.
Pero hemos cerrado ese capítulo, entre comillas, para poder seguir llevando un día a día lo más normal posible.